was 17 when I sort of officially decided that music was what I wanted to do with my life. And I was studying at the Berklee School of Music summer program, and I won this songwriting contest. And the prize was that I got to play one of my songs that I had written with a band on this big performance stage. And I just remember that performance having this total alignment feeling of, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. So then I did. I think because I'm a producer and a writer, the process of making music is a little bit more fluid. It's not like I write for a while and then decide it's time to record. It's sort of like I'm always writing and recording at the same time. But after I put my EP out, I toured for a year, and it was really hard for me to figure out how to write on the road, because it was my first time ever touring. And I think like any new job, there was just a lot for me to learn. And so after that year of touring, I took a couple months off and just was really quiet and tried to figure out who I was after going through this whole thing, and then what I had to say. And yeah, and then in like 4 to 5 months after that, wrote the record and recorded the record, and now it's done. The album is about change and transition. I graduated from college, and this video of me and Pharrell Williams went viral, and my very private life became very public very quickly. And a lot of it felt really outside of my control. So much of that was amazing. I mean, it's this sort of like myth, or like this Cinderella story kind of, but as amazing as it was also kind of complicated. I spent a lot of that year feeling really overwhelmed and really scared and not knowing how to make all this thing feel like me. And so I've always thought of records as records of a period of time, and a way to catalog time in my life. And I've made records independently my whole life since I was 17, and this just feels like the story of that time. If I listened to what anybody else said about what the record should be, then I wouldn't really be an artist. And I'm just really excited for it to come out. It's exactly what I wanted to make. And I'm really proud of the work I've put in, and if people like it, that's great. And if they don't like it, I'm sure there's gonna be thousands of other albums that come out on the day mine comes out. So maybe there'll be one that will connect with people. I recorded the record over a period of 4 or 5 months, and a lot of it started in Maryland. I lived in New York for 5 years, and when I started touring, I spent 6 weeks in my year lease. So just rent didn't make any sense. And so I moved back to my parents' house, and it's crazy because after all of this stuff had happened, I found myself writing in my childhood bedroom again. It's like I could have blinked and none of it happened. And so the record really started there, and I have a little studio there, and was writing and recording and making demos. And then I took a bunch of trips to LA and had the privilege of working with these collaborators, Greg Kurstin, Ricky Reed, Rostam Betmangli, and their music, their catalogs. I mean, it's what I've grown up on. It has so informed my life. So it's crazy then, you know, like with Rostam, I was a huge Vampire Weekend fan, and I used to cover their songs in high school, and then suddenly I'm sitting in a room with Rostam, and we're working together, and it was amazing to get to learn from all of these really, really incredible musicians that I have so much respect for. I think when I had made music before, it had always happened very quickly, you know, in this like 10 or 15 minute just like sort of lightning bolt of creativity. And the biggest thing I wanted to focus on with this record is really trying to separate the process of creating with the process of editing. think the creative muscle is something that is so fluid, but if the critic gets involved, it can really tense up. And in learning to separate those processes, I feel like I did a lot of work of getting to know the craft of songwriting more. Because I think as an artist, you want to work to write the perfect song, and it'll never exist, but I just want to make sure that whether it's in production or songwriting or performing, that I'm always challenging myself and growing in some way. I listen to all kinds of music, but I feel like most people do. It's like crazy to think about a time when your sense of identity was defined by the one kind of music you listen to, whether you're a punk or whatever, But I listen to all kinds of music, and I read a lot. I think when I listen to music, the first thing I hear are the words, and the words are really important to me. And so it's inspiration. There's people who write every day, and I think that can be a really, really productive approach. But I found for me, music is much better when it can punctuate life. So I think my biggest inspiration for this record is just living. As simple as that sounds. I've been trying to not think about music for a portion of my day.